took this video earlier this morning when I first was up letting the dogs out. This would have been around 4:30 this morning, and it was just like a ringing moment where I could hear the birds, I could hear the cars. It was a little on the cool side because it rained through the night. It was just one of those moments where it was really apparent that my body, my physicality, is part of a tapestry of the moment, the aggregates that make up my sense of self, the form, my feelings, my thoughts. I just felt like they were really out there on a palette, shared by the other, the plants in the garden, the sound of the birds, the quality of the air. Just for a moment, the sort of the lived experience of that sense of being a temporary uprising, a temporary accumulation of sense input, a temporary borrowing of physical form. I mean, I hope in my practice to cultivate that sense so that I can reside more fully, more permanently in that moment, the moment of recognition. When I teach the meditation class, it's easy for people. It's easy when you first start meditating to feel like the distraction is a failure. And what I like to really encourage is that the moment of recognizing that you've been distracted is the moment that you're awake. I think I heard that from Sam Harris, but it might have been, I think it was Sam Harris who said that. It's really true. It's really, like, that is the practice. To realize that you've been distracted more frequently and for a longer period of time, and eventually the concept of distraction doesn't make any sense anymore. There's a stability, and then from that stability comes some insight, and then you're in a stream of this sort of this virtuous insight. So after this, I came inside and I sat down at my piano here in my studio. I have an upright here, and worked a little bit on a choral piece. I want to write a choral piece for the church choir. This is something new project for me. I've been attending church for the last year or so. Still absolutely involved in Buddhism and Bon, but I'm finding a great value and a great warmth of being sort of reconnecting with the Methodist Church, which is the church I grew up in. And although at the time I would not have said that it was particularly important to me, and it certainly wasn't a part of my life once I went off to college. But it is a part of my life now. And I want to explore that and explore it in the ways that I have available to me. So some of that is music. So writing a choral piece. Part of that is not making it too big a deal, right? It needs to be a 4-minute-ish piece for a choir that has some good singers in it, but it's not a professional choir. So this isn't a place to be, I'm not writing Missa Solemnis. I want a nice piece that people will enjoy hearing. So I was working on that. And I'm always interested in the connection between a creative idea and a thought, right? When we talk about, in the meditation practice, we talk about thoughts. And the thought will arise, it will, of its own volition, sustain and then disperse. It takes energy to sustain a thought. But why is it that there are some thoughts that I privilege and say, oh, that's a creative idea, that's a musical idea, that's a poem, that's something I'm going to take and write. What is it about that? What's the attribute of that thought that makes me think it is something that not only do I want to put energy into sustaining as a thought, but actually take and turn into an action? And what is there any difference? And if there is, what is it between an idea that becomes a piece of music or an idea that becomes a video like this, sort of a, you know, exploration of Dharma? Do I want there to be any difference? Maybe what I want is for the music that I write to have the same resonance as my words that I use when I talk about Dharma. They are different. I don't want my music, my creativity to feel that it's being driven by my inner neuroses, which is all I've ever done, really, usually from writing from my point of insecurity. So that's a different topic. I think for today I want to try to recognize that just inherently peaceful moment. As you can see in the video, there was nothing special there, except that it was a moment. My dogs and the birds and the light and the darkness and the sense of the just finished rain. But that sensation of participation in the full sensorium is available now. Or now. So, for the rest of the day today, so my weekend today, I need to finish editing the score for a new piano piece. I wrote the piece last year. It's been sitting in a mostly edited form for many months, and partly that's because I was without a piano, a downstairs piano. But I have that Steinway now. And so the final stages of my score editing are always me turning into a player and playing the music and then scrutinizing the score as if it had been given to me by a different composer. I do that no matter what, whether it's for piano or for any other instrument. I need to play through it. It's like reading through a final draft, reading out loud. But my Sibelius subscription ends next week because what time is it? I gotta make sure I don't get behind on my actual work. My subscription, I canceled my subscription to Sibelius, which you'll know from a video last week. So I'm starting to use Finale. I'm struggling a little bit because over the years, of course, I've gotten very used to the keyboard shortcuts in Sibelius. But Finale is fine, and it's going to be fine. But this one piano score, I don't want to transfer over. I just want to finish it, be done with it, and then practice it and record it probably in June. My piano downstairs is a newly refurbished Steinway, so the strings are all new. So they do need to settle in. I had it for 2 months now. It's going to get tuned again at the beginning of June, and then it should start to really be pretty stable. It's a bit out of tune right now. So I'm going to record that piece. And then I think this is going to be a project through the summer. So I've got several nice sets of pieces. I have this piece rotating. I have the piece I wrote last year, the study on North American glaciers. I have the Red Hat Stickman Preludes. I mean, those three right there is a nice chunk of music. And I've got some other shorter single pieces along the way that I'm just going to record, put out on YouTube, put out on Bandcamp, and kind of go from there. So that would be good. And then a house concert sometime in September. Anyway, keep your wits about you.